Good morning, Tableau fans. This is Bruno with Kinesis CI, joining from the awesome city of Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to have an awesome time together today. Actually, it's really sunny outside, so it's going to be great. And by the way, I saw that you were actually over 300 to register for this event, so that's really cool. Today, I'll be actually with some top-notch speakers. Pauline with 360 Suite Kinesis, Devin and Ramki from Systech Solutions. As always, during all our events, as it's recorded, the recording will be available after the event on our LinkedIn page, okay, the one that you've used to register, and on the 360 Suite YouTube page. Feel free to ask at any time some questions in the chat box, and then we'll do our best to cover them. I'm not sure if we can cover all of them, but we'll do our best to cover them. And today, you know, the idea behind the event is actually to review all the best new features that Tableau released in 2020 with Systech. The event will be split in 3 parts. The first part will be around the 2020 new Tableau key features. The second part will be around a methodology that Systech has prepared around how to upgrade. That's always a very popular topic, as people want to understand what are the good practices to do the best upgrade. And the last part will be around making a demo on how Kinesis CI can be used to automate your Tableau testing journey. I will pass it over to Ramki and Devin from Systech. They're based in the awesome city of San Diego, I should say, the sunny city of San Diego, as always, and the warm city of San Diego. So, guys, fired up?
Awesome. Thank you, Bruno. Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to invite you all to this exciting webinar about the new features in Tableau 2020 versions. As Tableau enthusiasts, we have been, I know that it gives us, when you create visualizations in Tableau, kind of stories that you can say, the kind of insights that you can get out of it really excites us. And they have enhanced it further in terms of releasing these awesome features as part of the 2020 releases 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So we have handpicked some of the features that we want to highlight here today. And so Devin Nasby is our expert on Tableau visualizations. He's going to walk us through these features through some live demo. As Bruno said, feel free to ask questions, and let's have fun. And Devin, over to you.
Cool. Thank you, Ramki. Yeah, as Ramki mentioned, I'm with Systech. I'm a senior engineer on reporting there. My primary tool is Tableau, so I'm very passionate about it, and I'm just really excited to go through some of these updates and show you all what Tableau is offering in 2020. So on this list, you can see on my screen, these are the ones we've kind of handpicked, the fun ones, the ones we thought we would highlight for you today. There is a long list of new updates to Tableau 2020. So please feel free to, check out their website, YouTube, a whole host of links, but you can check out some of their other additions as well. But this is kind of the fun stuff, the juicy bits that we wanted to get to you today. So with that being said, I will hop right into it to our number 1, and that is the new connectors. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a fresh Tableau here. Come over to the left-hand side to the To Server section. We're going to open it up. For any of you who are familiar with Tableau, you're going to recognize a lot of these. Tableau tries to maintain and update their host of connection options. On 2020, what they've done is they've given us 2 new updates, pretty big ones, to the Salesforce connector. So they've allowed greater flexibility for connections, faster performance, even more data capabilities to play with. So a lot of performance updates as far as Salesforce goes, which is great to see. They've also made some tweaks to the way the Salesforce and the SQL language, the custom SQL language, kind of communicate and talk to each other. So again, performance updates, great to see it. Snowflake connector, that's another one that this guy down here, that's another connector they've updated this round. So that's a kind of a small update, but a good one. So they've allowed you now to, within the default Snowflake dialog, you can override the role permissions through Tableau's connector. So, small change, but a cool one. So it's nice to see Tableau constantly updating these types of features to their connections. So yeah, the second one on our list is write to external databases. Now this is a big one. This is one that we're really excited about. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull up a new Tableau prep builder. So much like desktop, this is another application Tableau offers, prep builder. So when you open it up, you'll see this landing page. This is a fresh one. You can see their sample flows down here. Again, if you're familiar with Tableau, you'll recognize the Superstore sample data set. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this and we'll get right into it. So you'll see this is the, for their default data, this is the builder and what kind of goes into it. They're just showcasing you some of the remove null features and the cleaning up the data nodes. This is what they're referring to as a flow. And we're going to go to the very end of it. I could spend hours talking about this, but we're just going to focus on the important stuff today. So I'm going to go to the very end of it, and right before this run flow module, I'm going to come to the quota plus orders, the last block here, and I'm going to click this plus, and I'm going to go to output. I'm going to select that. You'll see Tableau starts to prep a little output window for you, shows you what your data is going to look like, and give you some options on this left-hand side. So saving to a file, you can save it to an already published Tableau data source or a database table. You can specify the name, the location, the output type. They also give you some options here on how you want to treat the table if there's already a table in there. Do you want to overwrite it? Do you want to create a new one? So a few different options there. But this is huge, right? Because Tableau's never had the ability to write back to a database before. So this allows not only your developers, but even some of your really savvy power users to come in and make these changes on the fly to their data and then get the results back immediately, instead of having to go to a team and have them do an update to a table or a view. And I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with how long that can take. So these types of updates are amazing to see and really exciting. This is one I'm really happy about. The next one that we'll get into is the relationships. So again, I'm gonna be popping back and forth between some Tableau workbooks here that we're kind of we set up for you. So if it's a little jarring, I do apologize, but we'll have some breaks for some questions if there's any clarification needed. So I'm going to pull up this blank workbook, and again, we're using the Superstore data set, and I'm going to come to this data source tab at the bottom left, and you'll notice here looks a little different if you're familiar with Tableau to its traditional joins. Now we have what are referred to as either noodles or splines or lines, take your pick. I like noodle, it's a fun term. So we'll use that for the demonstration. So you've got these noodles here. If you click on them, it'll pull up this little edit relationship window. Now what's happening here is this is Tableau's kind of quick and dirty way to create a join, right? It's going to try and find the common field like we see here, order ID to order ID, between your two tables or views. It's going to then join join amongst those, and you can have, you can choose some performance options here. It's a very quick and clean way to create a data source if you have very clean and manageable data. If you know exactly what you're bringing in and you know that they are very similar sets of data, then yes, a relationship is a great, quick way to build your source and get working right away. However, they didn't leave us high and dry, and they didn't take away our old capabilities. So if you still wanted to do joins, all you have to do is select your table and open it. It'll create this new window, and if you want to drag and drop, you'll recognize now that we have Tableau's traditional joins, the inner, left, outer, full outer. So they haven't taken anything away from us, right? And I can always remove this, and if I go to the right-hand side, close out of this window and get right back to our relationships. So it's just a new feature. It's something they are implementing to try and help developers and power users get to their data quicker. I like it. I think it's a great feature, and has many applications. But yeah, it's new, it's awesome, it makes our lives easier. Yet we still have our old joins to go back to. So that's a great update to see. I like new things. I don't like when things are taken away. And I think a lot of us can agree on that.
Yeah.
So
probably Devin that's the same pretty much for everyone. It's
yep. Exactly.
Unless if it was not very good before, but actually it was pretty good before. So, by the way, we got a first question from Rachel.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a new Tableau public user. Is today's content applicable to the public version?
To the public version of Tableau. Now, when you say public version of Tableau, are you referring to the public server that anyone can publish on, or?
Rachel, just feel free just to add some more comments, and we'll do our best to get back to you. Got another comment.
But I guess in short, though, what we're looking at here in 2020 would be applicable to most of the versions that you see out there right now. Most of the companies will probably be working with 2020 or something close to it. So, I mean, in those senses, yes, it would be, what we're viewing today would be applicable to other dashboards you could see online in those regards. Yeah.
And then we've got another comment from Patrick who's saying, I'm wearing the wrong hat. So probably with you guys, I should have gotten a hat from the Padres. So sorry about that. I'm not sure if Patrick, you were referring to that. So by the way, just feel free to ask your questions in the comment box. And one thing before we go to the next step is I'd be curious to know from the audience on which version of Tableau they're on. So
yeah, that's
in, and we can review that after. And also if you're on Tableau Online or not. Devin, I'll just let you continue the flow.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, I think we have one more section here, and then we can actually, if we even want to break again for some questions here. So yeah, this next section here, this last one in our first of the three, the data prep on the web. So switching gears here, we were in our Tableau desktop apps. I'm going to go to Tableau online now. So in the web browser, and if we go to our landing page here, we'll see our default folders. For today's presentation, we have Tableau 2020. So I'll go right in there. And again, we're going to be using the Superstore set all day, so just get used to it, right? But we're going to go into our Superstore data set. And if you right click on the three dots here, or left click on the three dots here, we'll get a bunch of options. One of them is new flow. So this is what we're going to create. I just also want to show you all that up in here, when we're on this top left option drop down, we can also create a new flow here. It'll then give us a few other options of what we want to create the flow off of. For today, I want to create it off the Superstore, so I'm going to go right to the Superstore data set. I'm going to click new flow, and we'll see it load up here. It'll take 10, 15 seconds, depending on your data set, and it will load up. And I'm sure some of you, you're looking at this going, hey, this looks kind of familiar. Yeah, this is, this is a very similar page too, and I'll flip back to it just so, we can see how familiar that is. So this is our Tableau Prep Builder application, on our desktop, and this is Tableau Prep in web, right? So Tableau is great at doing this, where they try and incorporate many of their features from their desktop applications into their web browser editing software. So having the Prep Builder in the web browser now, I mean, it's just, they're really making our lives so much easier to update, maintain, and create these sort of data flows to our dashboard. So seeing, having that Prep Builder application, great. Having it on the web, even better. So Tableau has really one-upped themselves here, and has doubled down on this new added function. And yeah, if you come up to the left here, you'll see your Superstore data set. If you click the plus, here's our output option that we saw earlier. So a lot of the same functionality, not 100% of it, but most of it. So yeah, this is, again, great update. We love to see these things. So yeah, this is data prep on the web. Yeah. All right. So I think that's our first section here. So if we want to break for a few more questions, I think we're good.
I know there were a few technical issues just with LinkedIn, but I think it's being worked out. I think next section, Devin, is going to be around visualization, which actually has got it's the area where actually they're the largest amount of cool innovations for 2020.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's there are a few that we're going to go through here that I really wish I had a couple years ago for a few clients, and we'll go through those scenarios and those asks. But yeah, the updates to these new animations are amazing, and I can't wait to get them in the hands of some of our users, because they've been asking for them for years.
You got an access. Just see another question that got in on the first section that you presented. Why would I need Tableau Prep connector?
Would you need it, or why would you need it?
No, would I need?
No, you would not need Tableau Prep. It's just a tool to make your life a little easier, and maybe take a little bit of the pressure off the ETL team. But as far as you as a report developer needing prep, no, you do not. You just need a Tableau desktop and and a little inspiration. I guess data might be helpful too, but you get the idea. Tableau desktop is all you need.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's start the second part around the viz.
Okay. Awesome. So yes, so coming into this next section, let's see here. We're gonna hop right into it with our customizable discover pane. Excuse me, it's a mouthful there. So I'm gonna open up a fresh Tableau again, Tableau desktop, and it actually looks like this when we open it up for the first time, right? So this is a site that a lot of us are familiar with when we see Tableau. We've got our connections on the left. We've got our recent workbooks in the middle, some samples down below. And to the right-hand side here, this Discover page, which Tableau has always tried to, give you resources and helpful tips and tricks, and, an update to the newest version. Sometimes they'll have a, come check out our Tableau, free online public place where you can come see the visualization of the month, or things like that, right? So they try and keep their community engaged, which is nice. However, if you have Tableau in a company and you want your dashboard designers to come in and have a familiar place where they get to see their, data and dashboards and training and resources that are relevant to them and their company, well, they can now. Tableau has given us the ability to customize this Discover page to tailor it to our company, our design, our look, our needs, and even help our users kind of navigate that avenue of Tableau. So this is a great way to incorporate Tableau into a company and bring it in and make it feel like a part of the company, a part of them. But it also is just a great fun tool to, as a user, to come in and see stuff that's relevant to me and my company. So love that. Small but impactful change. So the next one on our list is the Viz animations. So I'm going to pull up a Tableau workbook again, and we're going to go into a pre-made Tableau sheet here, this Viz animation sheet. So Viz animations, they're a cool way to look at your data across different filtering options and have it play out, so to speak, instead of snapping to place. And I'll show you what that looks like. So if we come up to the top on format, we come down to animations here, this is how we activate them, turn them on and off. So we've got a workbook default on and off, and we've also got a specific sheet selector, right? So if I wanted to default them on for my workbook and then down the line wanted to turn them off for 1 or 2 sheets in particular, I can do that on the sheet selector while still leaving it default, right? So, pretty basic functions. You can choose how fast you want the animation to be. And I will show you what that looks like right now with the animation on and the animation off. So if I come to the right hand side, you'll see this month order date, March 2017, and I'm just going to click play, and you'll see our data points start to move as it goes from month to month of the year 2017. So now we're in June, and we can see the way Texas slowly progresses up the chart, right? So it's just a cool way to see, and it can be very impactful, especially if you're trying to track trends. This is a great way to see when and where something spiked instead of just cherry picking your data points. And I'll show you what it looks like with no animation. You can start to see why. If I click, let's say June 17th, and I wanted to go a few months ahead, let's say September, how did we get here? Our points just snapped all around between those months. Whereas if I went to our Viz animation and I went June 17 to, let's say, September, I can see Washington move through that pattern, right? So we can see kind of where it went throughout those months and chart that pattern. So these are not only cool features because they make your data more fun to interact with, but they're cool features because they give you a new way to view it and maybe even new insights into trends and spike percentages that you wouldn't have been able to track and see before. So this is very cool, these Viz animations. With the Viz animations, they've also updated, if you're still looking at the right-hand side of my screen here where my cursor is, this play button. This play button is now in your browser, which is amazing. I know that probably seems silly, and it's like, why wasn't it there before? I know, I was asking the same questions, but now it is, in fact, in the browser. So I just pulled up the browser for you guys really quick. This is the same workbook, just published online. If you go to the right-hand side, you'll see the play button. We can click through it, and you'll see our dashboard starts animating. So very cool function, really fun to play with. I'm excited to see how our users, our power users, start designing things with this. But yeah, it's a cool function. Love seeing the play button finally in the browser. Again, Tableau giving us more and not taking away is a wonderful thing. So these types of updates are great to see. All right, so hopping into our next one, dynamic parameters. This is another one of those kind of small but very impactful changes, ones that I'm really excited about because it helps my day-to-day. So I'm going to pull up a Tableau workbook, and we'll just go back to our Viz animations. And I'm going to go to order date. I'm just going to create a parameter based off this order date, just for the sake of the demonstration and doing this quickly for you. So when you create a parameter and you base it off, in this case, order date, right, it'll populate out a list of values for you. Now, in the past, when you created parameters and based them off of a list of values, that list, the way it was when you imported it and created it, that's the way it stayed. So if you wanted to make a change, or if a change came into your database, you had to come in and update your parameter, which doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world. Most cases, it really isn't. However, when you have a lot of these, or they're getting updated every day or every week or every month, and it's an ongoing dashboard, it does get time consuming to go back in and make all of those little updates. So now Tableau has added this feature on the right hand side here. You'll see fixed, add values from, or when workbook opens. Now we have an option when the workbook opens based off of a particular date. We'll say order date because that's the actual value we're choosing here, to update this parameter. So now every time I come into this workbook, my parameter dynamically updates itself to contain the newest set of values from that column that it was created. So this is an amazing feature. It seems like such a small one, but the day-to-day, it makes life a lot better. So dynamic parameters, really love to see this. It's a great addition. I think a lot of developers are excited about this one.
Extremely powerful, Devin. Thanks a lot. As time flies, make sure that you ask your questions in the chat box, and we'll do our best to feedback to these. So, Devin, if you want to move on to the next innovations.
So the next one is the export dashboard. So the export dashboard function, this is another one really cool function. It's just a little button here. If you come to the bottom left of my screen, I'm just going to drag and drop this for you. You can drag and drop a download button, come up to the edit button feature, and you'll see your 4 options here: crosstab, image, PowerPoint. Crosstab is just an Excel. Few formatting options here. This is great though. You can drag and drop this onto your dashboards. It just makes life easier for your users to be able to see this. Obviously, the option is online on the web browser anyways, but I get asked about this all the time, how to navigate to it, how to get back to it. Now I can just drag and drop a button. Makes life easy. Users are happy, developers are happy. It's a great thing. All right, so let's move on to next one. And I'm going to start running through these a little quicker because I think we're kind of running short on time here. But yeah, I'm just going to start running through these. Okay, so our explain data section. Now, Tableau's always had some sort of an explain data or details. They've gone a step further this time with explain data. So, you saw me click on Texas there and come out to that options box and click that little what looks like a light bulb. So what happens now is we get a dropout window with exactly what was going on in, let's say, Texas. So the city was San Antonio. They did this amount of sales. The customer name was Becky. So it looks like one person from Texas did all of these sales, right? So maybe this is an opportunity where you have a great rewards program and you want to give Becky a huge discount next time she comes to do business with you. I don't know, but these explain data sections now give us way more insights into our data without having to create a million different dashboards to get there. I think Tableau's done a great job of giving you new insights into a visualization you already have. So very cool to see. Next one, and this is the one that I had mentioned earlier, was something I had gotten asked about from many of our clients before: buffer calculations. And we could spend a lot of time here. Again, I think we're running short on time, so I'm going to try and cruise through this pretty quick. I'll show you the new calculations that Tableau has added here. They are buffer, this first one, and the second one, make point. So what these are doing, this make point, you're choosing a latitude and longitude for this situation of a particular city. You're then making a point around that latitude longitude. Then you're putting it in a buffer, which then buffers that point for a given amount, right? So we've used this range parameter. I'll show you what that is in a sec. And I've used the miles. Note here, I could do kilometers, could even do meters. I can do feet, right? Plenty of options here. So yeah, this is the calculation. These are the two new ones. And if I come into range and I look at this parameter, all I've done is just, we're working in miles. So this 0.5 is in the range of miles, 0.75 and then 1 mile. And that just gives us the ability, coming to the top right here, to actually filter our buffer range and start to see where maybe some of our ranges overlap each other, right? Competing zones. The client that I was at that was asking for these was a healthcare client, and they wanted to know the distance their patients were from their doctor's offices because they had patients traveling 60 miles in some cases. So they wanted to know, using these buffer calculations, who fell within a certain range of a doctor's office, right? But we didn't have this capability to do this type of analysis before. So these types of visualizations, I mean, this is a game changer. This is maybe one of the most exciting things in Tableau 2020 for me personally. And it's just bubbles on the screen, but they're very impactful.
Well, Devin, that brings me to a point, like, out of all the innovations that you've presented so far, what would be the top 2 or 3 most impactful for our users?
So I would say for users, right? We'll say users and developers. So for users, I would say our most impactful changes are the stuff that we see in browser. So, and in fact, I was just about to get into some of those here with the map functions. So not only the visualizations like the buffers we see. In fact, I'll answer the question while we go through the next section here. Let me show you some of the other cool features of this for a user. So you can come into the edit tool, right? And now what we have is, if I come up to map layers, the user has all these options to edit and customize their maps. Let's say I want to do neighborhoods and I want to look at streets. Maybe this is more impactful for me and my department to know what street they're next to know if there's water labels or cities in a particular area, if there's subway or train stations. I mean, the implications of this for a user are huge. I mean, there's millions of ways the ways I couldn't even think of that a user can interact with just the maps alone now. So between the buffers, these edit capabilities online, even just the viz animations, I'd say, those 3 for me are kind of the most exciting. I'm a very visual person, when it comes to reporting. So I think, as far as the user standpoint, those are some of the most exciting things to see. And then from a developer standpoint, prep, a lot of the stuff we again see in browser that they're adding, some of the stuff that we haven't even gotten to yet, the permissions and the site role allocations, as far as a developer or an admin goes, I mean, those are life-changing. Again, thinking back, on the just even the past couple projects over the last 2 or 3 years, all of these updates in 2020 we could have used back then, right? So, I mean, the 2020 suite of updates is huge. I mean, maybe one of the most impactful updates I've ever seen on Tableau, and that is saying a lot because they have had some pretty big updates, but this one is bar none. This is it. This is the king of all updates. So yeah, it's exciting, really exciting to see.
I'd agree, and that's great because we'll be later on talking around the methodologies around updating your Tableau.
Absolutely.
That can be a pain for a lot of our customers today.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, that's probably, you have so many innovations in the latest releases. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's 2020 has been definitely their best and biggest update. Absolutely.
We'll see what 2021 brings, but
I know. I'd really like to see them outdo themselves here. So let's see.
Well, let's take some bets. So let's go to the last section, which is around IT governance. So you've got 4 parts, and I think you've prepared some slides around that.
Yep, I have. So let me pop back over to our PowerPoint here, and yeah, let's get into it. So our last section here. So the improved site role allocation limits. So this is one of the new ones, right, that I was just mentioning as far as the developers and the admin side goes. This makes, these types of updates, we love to see this type of stuff. What this is specifically, though, this is a way for your admins to limit the way your site licenses are used. So let's say you've got, well, I guess for this example, they've got what 325 licenses, it looks like here, right? So they've got 25 allocated to creators, 200 to explorers, and 100 to viewers. Now, let's say they've only got 15 creators, but they know there are times in the year where their workload spikes and they have to have, let's say, 25 creators to make sure that all of these updates, their yearly updates or their big fixes, or they're rolling out Tableau 2020 and they have to go through all of their workbooks and update them now, right? So they know they need these 25 particular creator licensed people so that they can go in and make particular updates, right? So they allocate these 25 licenses so that when they are in these situations, they always have those 25 locked and loaded, right? And you're only limiting the rest of your people to 200 explorers and 100 viewers, right? So you're essentially saying, this is the way I want my site to be ran. This is how many viewers I want on my site. This is how many people I need to be creating on the site. And maybe you want to limit it, right? Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe I don't want 25 people coming onto my Tableau website and messing with stuff. Maybe I only want 5. So I limit the creators to 5, right? So this is, as far as an admin goes, this is a huge update, and definitely, quality of life thing for sure. So love to see that. Set permissions for nested projects. So Tableau has, you can put a project in a project, a parent and a child, and now they have nested permissions for them, which is great because it saves us a lot of time if all of the child projects are in fact supposed to inherit the parent permissions. However, there are circumstances where maybe you have, let's say you have a department, sports, right? And within sports, basketball, football, and soccer all have their own project folders. And now maybe Bob, who's head of basketball, also needs to view some football data. So he has to navigate, a couple folders, but the guy in soccer, he's only supposed to see soccer, right? So maybe it's a little convoluted. They all need to get into sports, but a few people need to see this and one guy needs to see that. So you can customize it too, right? So it just gives you that ability to go back to the way it was, the way Tableau has always been, and just allow you to layer your permissions, or it allows you to lock everything within that parent folder to a set list of permissions, and you fire and forget, right? You create the parent, set the permissions up, lock it, and everything that goes into there stays the same. So great quality of life thing, just helps us maintain our permissions around the website and keep things a little clean, because I think we all know, if you're familiar with Tableau admin work, it gets messy occasionally. So nice to see updates like that. External file store. So what is this? So when Tableau runs their backup snapshots now, what they do is they're going to leverage your network devices, the storage on those network devices, and it's going to increase the performance of which you do a backup or a snapshot, right? And why is this why is this necessary? Maybe, you know, I'm a single user or a small company, right? So maybe for you as a single user or a small company, okay, this might not be that big of an update, but for a large enterprise who might be running hundreds of workbooks and might be having multiple backups or snapshots in an hour, right? They're going to be performing these procedures now at a much faster rate. And not only will the backup itself be faster, but they can run more of them at the same time without putting a hamper on their system. So, you know, not only is this a safety thing because now their backups are faster, which means smaller room for error, right? If you're backing up your system and the power goes out, that's not great. So, you know, smaller room for error on your backups. You can run more backups. Your system isn't hit as hard. This is, you know, from a technical standpoint, this is an amazing update. Something that not a lot of people will notice in the day-to-day, but definitely will improve your life around Tableau. Absolutely. So yeah, this is another one. The Tableau or the login based license management. So let's say you buy 100 licenses and you've got about 50 people using them. As they log into your system, you can activate new licenses. You can also just simply take one offline and give it to another person. So this really allows a company to buy 100 licenses and have 200 people use them, right? So this is a way for you to really cut your costs and have only the people who need to interact with Tableau actually interacting with it and having the license and paying for that, right? There's no reason to buy 200 Tableau licenses if only 50 people are using them. So, you know, this is a great way to buy a certain batch, test it out, see who's logging on, see how many of them get activated, and then, you know, kind of adjust accordingly. But yeah, I see this being a great addition, especially for bigger enterprises who need a lot of people to view Tableau, but maybe not all at the same time. So they can kind of swap licenses in and out. And I think that's actually it for me. I know I think I've gone a little over here, so I apologize for that. Lot to cover, but yeah, I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand it over to Ramki in a sec here to go over some other things on Tableau and how we update. You know, we go about updating your systems. I guess we can run through any questions right now, but otherwise, that's all from my end.
You know, I appreciate it very much, Devin. So yeah, we'll pass it over to Ramki, and then just please feel free to ask some questions in the chat box. Ramki, what can you tell us about upgrade methodology? I guess you've done a couple updates in your life. Ramki, we can't hear you. I think your mic is off. I think you might need to connect through your phone or something. So, so I know prior to this event, while Ramki's connecting, basically, you guys at Systech have done so many upgrades that actually you put together a methodology around, okay, what are the 5 main steps to upgrade your Tableau deployment? Ramki, we can hear you now. You want to go through that? Ramki, you were actually on the right screen before. Yeah, you're on the right screen now, and I think we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. There's a small technology glitch here. But there is one question about, before I talk about the upgrade methodology, there is one question from Yosef that how do we restrict, how do we do object level restriction, right? How do we give a different experience? Let's say 2 users access the same report, and how do I give a different experience for both the users? So Yusuf, the way to do it is to use a combination of what we call as licenses, permissions, and site roles. So these kind of restrict the interaction that a user can have with a visualization or a report in terms of the features that that they could do, right? Export a report, or you can restrict from people downloading the Tableau files and things like that. And the second option, as you had mentioned, is about doing row-level security or data-level security in terms of restricting what data the user can see. Like, as a sales manager for different regions, when I log in, I'm able to see only the region that I have access to. So those are the two ways, right? The licenses, you can assign a creator or viewer or explorer, and then you can do permissions on top of it, and then site roles as well to kind of restrict the features that are available to the users. And the second one is data-level security.
Ramki, you might want to reconnect from your phone. It sounds you're pretty far away, or you're on Mars or something. So it might help. In the meantime, while you dial back in, we've got. Well, first of all, Youssef is. It's great to have you part of the community now. So that's a great move. I'd be curious to know which BI technology you moved from, if there was one. We've got a second question that we can take right away. From Rashid, I feel a complete uninstall and installing the newer version is much easier than the typical upgrade process. What are your comments on that? Maybe Devin, you want to cover that while Ramki's connecting?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it. Without putting too much of a joke in the answer, it kind of depends on where the company's at, right? I think I've been in this similar situation where I thought, I think uninstalling and reinstalling everything might be easier. But for the most part, I think just doing an upgrade is the best process. If you've got a good system, if you've got a good system working, there's no reason to completely remove it and update it. It just doesn't make sense. It does seem like it might be more of a process to do so, but really you're saving yourself so much work in the long run. But yes, I have been in situations where I thought, man, we should just start this all over. But no, for the most part, it's better to just update your systems and go through the upgrade process. So yeah.
And Yusuf just answered to the comment we did earlier. I was asking him, from which BI technology he came from, and he came from Business Objects, Click, and Sisa. So again, welcome to the community, and things in Tableau are, I would say, a lot better. So
yes, I actually I'm not too familiar with BO or Sysense, but Click, I've worked in Click before, and I personally, I mean, I'm biased towards Tableau anyway, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think compared to Click, Tableau is, I mean, it's night and day. It's a totally different system. So yeah,
I would agree. Actually, recently we've actually published an article around comparing Business Object and Tableau. It was actually quite interesting there. At a very high level, showing pros and cons, and perhaps we can share it after the event or during the event. We can maybe share that article. Looks like Alex says that your presentation, Devin, was really bad. I see. He says presentation. This really excited to see the animation and buffer update. So
thanks. Well, thank you, Alex. I'll work on it next time. We'll clean it up for you.
it was really perfect. Ramki, are you back on? I see that.
Yes, Bruno, can you hear me okay?
Sure, we can hear you okay. And if it's an issue, we can have Pauline, take over.
Yeah. Let me just quickly, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But I just wanted to cover this upgrade methodology pretty quickly, and then I'll hand it over to Pauline. So this is at a very high level, our upgrade methodology that is in alignment with what Tableau suggests as the standards and best practices, right? And we have it as 5 high-level steps as listed here: assess, prepare, upgrade, validate, and roll out. And assess is where this is really important for us to get an inventory of all the objects that we have, and your source version, either what they call as a pre-TSM or Tableau Service Manager version, which is prior to 2018.2, and what is your target version that you are migrating to? Is it going to be to 2020.4, the latest, or 2020.1? So you have to decide what's your current version, what's your future version, and kind of do a feature mapping in terms of how do you take advantage of all these new features that have been released, right? And you take, like, for example, relationships. We want to take advantage of relationships. You have to do an assessment and figure out where are all the places which could be applicable for relationships, right? So you, in assess step, you just figure out what version you want to go, and also you prepare this what we call as an education and communication plan. You have to. There are different roles involved here. There's Tableau administrator, Tableau developer, and end users. So you have to plan for training sessions for each of these roles, and also a communication plan in terms of how this upgrade is going to happen. So all of that happens in the assessment phase. And prepare phase is where you download the version of Tableau that you want to install. How are you going to do the install? Is it going to be in a separate test server, which is what we normally propose and suggest? And then you download all of the latest the versions of Tableau softwares, either it be desktops and the tab commands and Tableau servers, and take a backup of your existing environment, right? And your SSL certificate, your OpenID configuration, based on how complex you are. Is it a single node or a multi-node? You basically have all the software components ready to install the new version. At the same time, take a backup of your current versions, and then you actually perform the upgrade. And once the upgrade is done, the most important step is the validation, where you have to go in and take a look at your site topology. All the sites are there, or the projects correctly upgraded, the reports, the permissions, your refresh schedule, subscriptions, everything has to be validated. And this is what Pauline is going to touch now, how Kinesis can actually accelerate this whole process and help us reduce the effort and time in this upgrade process. And finally, we do the production rollout. We do the communication that the Tableau server is up and running, and we do a post-production validation as well. So as you can see, there are 3 different steps where you can perform the validation. One is the pre-upgrade. If you're doing the upgrade in a separate server, and you take a copy of your current production, and then you put it on the new test server, you have to do an environment-to-environment testing, number 1. And then after you upgrade, you do perform validation as well. That could be functionality as well as data testing. And this is very daunting in terms of the testing process itself, and Kinesis can help us here, right? And so these 5 steps, we can help you prepare a very specific, focused kind of a migration or upgrade plan for you, based on your environment, based on your needs and your requirements. But it'll be further drill down of these steps into individual tasks, like a project plan kind of a thing, right? And Systech can help you with that. So with that, I'll hand it over to Pauline, where he's going to talk about how Kinesis can help us in this validation process.
Before, just a question for you, Ramki, in terms of upgrade, on average, what do you see in terms of length? How long are these projects, generally speaking?
So, I mean, it depends on the complexity of the environment. If it's a single node, it could be done pretty quickly, right? A single server, where it could be done pretty quickly. But if it is a multi-node, and if we have thousands of users, and Tableau desktops have to be upgraded there, and then you have API-based integration with Tableau, and then you have a lot of tab commands. So it really depends. But maximum, between 2 and 4 weeks is what we typically see the upgrade process. It could be as simple as a week if it's a single server, a few, probably tens of users, but it could go up to 4 weeks if it's going to be a complicated environment.
Thank you very much. So let's pass it over to Pauline. So, unlike the frame behind her, she's not in San Francisco. She's based in DC. So we'll have to talk about the story of that picture behind you, Pauline.
Wishful thinking, I guess. I wish I was in San Diego with Ramki and Devin, actually.
I'd agree.
A little warmer there, yes. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so now that you've seen what all is available in the 2020 versions of Tableau, you probably are interested in upgrading. So we talk to a lot of customers that they don't upgrade that frequently. Oftentimes, they're hesitant because they don't know, are the dashboards going to break? Are they the users? They don't want to, the users to think that things aren't working, so they want to be able to have a way to test. So Kinesis gives you a way to automate your testing, your Tableau dashboards. So we have regression testing, functional, which allows you to compare dashboards with across two different environments or within the same environment. You can also compare across two different versions. Functional testing allows you to simulate the user journey and to validate that functionality is working, filters, parameters, the dashboard's loading correctly, that kind of thing. And then you can also do performance testing with Kinesis. So if you want to, throughout the day, we have customers that use this to validate that they're getting similar performance to make sure that nothing's slowing down the loading of the dashboard, or if you want to actually do load testing to validate, do server capacity planning, that kind of thing, you can do that as well. So let's jump into Kinesis so I can show you what a test looks like. So here is a regression test. This allows me to pick a source environment. So I've got a couple environments set up. So I've got my dev environment. I can select a target environment. And imagine my dev is in 2020.4, my UAT is in an older version in 2020 or 2020.1, and I want to validate. I picked Superstore, just like Devin did. I picked the Superstore as well. So I have a number of different things that I can compare. So I can check that the worksheets exist, that the columns compare, the images. I can compare filters, parameters, all of that. So I'm just going to run the test just to show you what it's doing. So when I click Run Test, this is the automated part of the software. I'm not touching this now. It's going to simulate the login. So I've set up my connection so it knows which which Tableau servers I want to connect to. Just to let you know, this connects to Tableau server. So it's logging in, it's opening the visualization that I selected, it's capturing all the metadata about that visualization. So all the data, the columns that are being extracted, that are used within that dashboard, all the filters, the parameters, the worksheet. So everything is being extracted, and then it's going to be able to compare those two based on what I selected to compare. So that'll finish in a second, and it'll either give me a pass or a fail. And so my job failed. I come over to reports, and I'll take a look at which of the tests failed. So here I go. I've got 7 failures. So worksheets exist. So I previously had this shipment worksheet. It no longer exists. So this is my target on the left, or sorry, my source on the left, my target on the right. Comparing columns. So I used to only have 3 columns. Now I have 6. So it's highlighting that something's changed there. The check image. This is probably one of the ones that you probably want to include. So here's where that particular worksheet got removed. So it shows me those red squares indicate where something's different. There's a bar missing on the target. So something's changed there. Filters. Again, those didn't pass, those failed, the filters were different, the filter types. So it's highlighting those differences and parameters as well. Now, upgrading to Tableau, I don't expect that to cause these kinds of issues, but just wanted to highlight what the kinds of information you get when tests don't pass. So that's a regression test that's helpful with when you're changing versions. And then you can also do functional tests. We have a number of different functional tests you can do, setting filter, validating data, validating the SQL. You can actually provide SQL and verify that you're getting the same results in your workbooks. So you can string a whole list of functional tests. I can log in, open a visualization, set a filter list, pick which filter values I want to set, and then I can actually validate data. This is probably one of the tests that are most often used. This can allow you to, ensure that you're getting expected results. So I'm getting these region values. The year date is greater than a certain value. I can say, I want to make sure something is equal or greater than, less than, and you can even use formulas to do more complex logic to validate things. And again, you get a report with these tests. It's going to give you, tell you which parts of the test passed or failed. I'll just go through this real quickly. And yeah, it gives you snapshots along the way, telling you what's passed or failed. So here I've got the rows that didn't compare. So it's just a quick look at Kinesis. This is designed to also be automated, so you can schedule it in a Windows task scheduler. If you use a CI solution like Jenkins, you can automate it, but also great for doing upgrades. So I'm going to just show you. So we do have on our website on kinesisci.com, you can actually download a trial. So if you come to the website, click try for 14 days, and all we ask for is your email address, a business, please. Business email address. You can download a trial for 14 days and test out Kinesis with Tableau, so you can see how it works.
Thank you very much, Pauline. We had a question from CJ or SJ asking, can we know which tool is used for regression tests? So it's Kinesis CI. So that was used for regression functional testing. There is a question from a LinkedIn user. Was the notion of trigger files introduced to this version or in a previous version? And that's for Devin. So,
I'm muted. Sorry about that. Can you ask that one more time?
Was the notion of trigger files introduced to this version? So I guess the 2020.4 or any previous version?
As far as I know, that would be a new introduction. Not a lot of lingo about it in the old ones, at least. But yeah, I think that's a newer feature.
Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot, Pauline, for this quick introduction of Kinesis. And again, if you guys want to get a trial, just hop on the site and get 14 days trial. It's free and you've got all the functionalities there. Devin, Ramki, do you want to say a couple words around Systech?
Absolutely.
Ramki, go for it. Yeah.
Sure. Hope you guys can still hear me.
We can.
Okay, perfect. So Systech is a niche player in data management analytics. We have been in the space for almost 28 years now, and so data management starts from data acquisition all the way to converting data into insights. So which means that getting data from your internal data sources, your enterprise applications, also from external sources like social media and IoT data and things like that, right? Processing it and storing it in a format which is helpful for doing all kinds of analytics, either it be discovery, ad hoc discovery, or pre-built canned reports and visualizations and so on. So we do, as indicated in the slide, we do end-to-end, where we help acquire all kinds of data in all kinds of velocities, all the way taking that all the way to actionable insights. And this is what we do. And in that process, we also help our clients set up data governance policies and data catalog and master data management, data warehouses. Also applying machine learning techniques for prescriptive or cognitive type of analytics. We have worked with a lot of clients, and we just have a few of the clients, a representative sample here in the slide. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions with related to what we showed here as Tableau new features as well as the Kinesis. And if you have beyond that, if you have broader questions and broader topics that you want to discuss, we will be glad to help you on that as well.
So thank you very much, Ramki. I think Yusuf was wanting to go a little bit deeper in the answer. So I'm not sure if he got the answer that he was wanting. So
okay.
And earlier there was a mic issue, so it could have been that he didn't hear it. So
okay, sorry about that. So what I was saying is that so to have a different kind of experience when two users access the same visualization, for example, there are two ways to do it, right? One is you can apply data level security, which is, I think he mentioned it as row restriction, right? Where a sales manager of North region sees only the North region data versus a sales manager of South region sees South region data, right? And they can't see any other region. So that's one way to do it. But the interactions that you have with the visualizations, the kind of features that you have access to, the kind of actions that you can do on the, let's say you are on the Tableau server or using your desktop, then you can restrict it based on what we call as licenses, a combination of licenses, site roles, and permissions. With respect to licenses, there are three types of licenses: creator, viewer, and explorer, which kind of has their own set of features that the users can access. And obviously, a creator has much more actions that he can perform when compared to viewer. On top of it, you can have site roles. And if you want much more granular level of restricting what the users can do on these visualizations, you can use permissions and site roles as well. And Yusuf, if you want to have further conversations, we can definitely do that if you want to go much more detail on this.
Well, and if I can even just add on to that, when we were working at NAM Healthcare, one of the requests that we had, so they have what's called IPAs. They're like groupings of doctors' offices, right? So certain IPAs for certain regions, and certain doctors belong to certain IPAs. Some doctors belong to multiple IPAs, some only belong to one. And as you can imagine, this is patient information, right? So social security numbers, health insurance. So this is very sensitive information. We didn't want to build one dashboard 57 times for all of these providers, right? We wanted to build one dashboard that every single one of these IPA directors could come into and view. We also wanted to have the same dashboard viewable by the executives in the company, so they had to be able to see everything. But Steve from IPA 103 could only see 103, and Jim from IPA 102 needed to see 103, 102, and 107, right? So there was all of these different restrictions, and the way we accomplished that was both through the website, creating user groups, right? So we created custom user groups for each IPA. We then applied those user groups in Tableau desktop to say, hey, this IPA, IPA 103, well, filter them to only see IPA 103, right? So as we filled out these user groups and got the appropriate people and the appropriate IPAs, and then applied the filter to our one dashboard, as those people logged in, I guess for your case, your two users, right? Guy from IPA 1 and guy from IPA 2, as they log into the same dashboard, it pre-filters that dashboard to just show them what we have set them up to see. So there are real world implications and uses for this, and as far as like HIPAA violations, which is what we had to deal with at NAM, this type of an innovation and a way to filter your users and your data and your dashboards, I mean, it's huge, right? It allowed us to create a dashboard that not only complied with HIPAA, but gave a company everything they wanted in one spot, right? So that's how you would go about that. There's a few different ways to kind of achieve a similar goal, but that's probably the most common way of achieving that. But yeah, it's extremely helpful. It can really save you a lot of extra work to go about it that way. So yeah, I just wanted to add that on top of it.
Thank you very much, Devin. Also, I'm glad that you give more clarification around IPA, because at first I thought it was something else. So
No, that's not a good drink, and not a good dark beer, and it's also not Friday, unfortunately. So no, IPA is not in my vocabulary today, but at
sometimes
least
we
not
do
that
some of
time.
these presentations with our Tableau guru, Patrick Perrier, and actually he's got an environment where it's all around the beers of all around the world. So I'm sure you'll relate to that pretty well. So
Nice.
it's always a very nice one. And as always, again, this recording is going to be available on our LinkedIn page, okay, or will be available on YouTube. That's the first thing. The second thing is, we just want to thank all of you. It was just, Devin, that was great to have you on. Ramki, you rocked as well. That was really great. And thanks to, all the people that have joined this event today. It was really fun. And again, thank you very much. Be safe, be good, and remember, automate your Tableau dashboard quality testing with Kinesis CI, and visit our website to get a trial today. Thanks a lot, guys. Have an awesome day.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.